Welcome everybody to another episode of Growing Up Kayfabe. We are the Yeet and No Yeet of Wrestling podcast, the Yes and No of Wrestling podcast. I am your host, Joe. Thank you as always for watching these episodes. I appreciate you for stopping by and listening to some Wrestle Talk with me, hanging out with me. Before we get started, don't forget you can go to the show notes down below. You can go to the timestamps. You can skip ahead to the parts that you think are most important, that you want to hear about, that you want to listen to me talk about, that you want to talk about. And then you can also, while you're down there, hit the like button, comment with me, subscribe, share out to a friend or family member that loves wrestling in your life, and it is very, very appreciated. As you know or may not know, on this podcast we go over the week of wrestling and we talk about what we thought was good and bad, and then we go from there. In this episode we're going to be going with more of a little bit of a rapid fire. That's an IRL camera fix right there. Beautiful. Starting with Monday, we're going to talk about what we like the most. First things first, Maxine Dupri, your new women's intercontinental champion. This is the perfect culmination of what this whole run was supposed to be with Becky. Nobody pushes a title. I've said this before. Nobody pushes a title like Becky or Seth. Becky took that IC title and ran with that shit. Valkyria was going to do nada with it. And so Becky takes it. She starts elevating that, makes a character, does this whole shtick, pushes it above and beyond. And finally, more to that, it's being used exactly what it's supposed to be used for. These mid-card talents that we want, not just mid-card talents because they're mid-card talents we want to see, like Maxine Dupri, who is one of the stars that day after day, due to her social media presence and her backstage presence and on screen, everybody knows for a 100% fact the work that Maxine's been putting in. They know that the criticism that she got, and they know that she's been working at it hard ever since then, and it shows consistently. Therefore, mid-card title, here you go, Maxine Dupri, IC title champion. Like, that's perfect booking. Roundabout story. It wasn't too long. That was beautiful. Now, clearly, it's probably going to go a little bit longer with her and Becky, especially after War Games. Once Becky's done with War Games, we'll see. I would like it for just Maxine to just be able to just start, facing people in the mid-card area, and like that's how she should build it. I know we have a lot of like fighting champions right now, but Maxine's got to do a little bit of like, hey, again, that's the point of the mid-card titles. That's the biggest critique, is that you make these mid-card titles and they're not on TV every week, which they should be. So I think Maxine's perfect for that. She's dedicated, she's young, she's got a lot of time on her hands. She'll be able to be there. If you want to book her, she'll be there. So great overall thing to see. Of course, shouts out to the assist from AJ Lee, where, that's where even Maxine's like, I could have done it without you. And I'm like, well, you could have. You definitely could have. But, for story's sake and for the fact that AJ Lee did, in fact, come out and help you by distracting Becky, sure. But that's what Becky gets, right? That's the comeuppance of the heel. So, big shout outs to that booking decision. Love that. Can't wait to see where they go from that. The next thing to talk about would be the surprise opponent, Nick Nemeth, my big brother, Nick Nemeth, aka Dolph Ziggler, coming out to the Dolph Ziggler persona, So I've been hearing the critique of that too. Like I do find it funny more on Cardona's side, because he was saying, like, people are already quoting him, like, but I also, again, it's one of those things I love about Matt Cardona, because he's already responded to that as well, where it's like, he said, I'll only come back to WWE as Matt Cardona, which he did. He came back to NXT as Matt Cardona. So, I mean, boom, there's that. He did do what he said he was going to do. But then, of course, like a more of official on-roster return, comes back as Zack Ryder, which is what I wanted. I want that nostalgia of at least the one time. So if they bring him back for other appearances as Zack Ryder, awesome. If they bring him back as Matt Cardona, even better. Totally fine. I don't care. But I was happy to see that return. Going back to the Zig Man, same thing. Yes, it would have been cool if he came out as Nick Nemeth from TNA, but then it doesn't really hold the same, So you have to think about crediting WWE in that way. Like they're specifically picking at your nostalgia, where they can be like, yeah, if he comes out as Nick Nemeth, you'll be like, whoa, cool, Nick Nemeth and WWE, but it's the new character, it's Nick Nemeth. It's not Dolph Ziggler, who I know. But and I mean, even then, Ziggler comes out and on the close up on him on the ramp, he screams TNA, like, gives it its shout out. We work with TNA. We don't have to. We get it. You guys know the whole thing. So but yeah, that was great. And I mean, what a match. Still, I mean, you watch him in TNA, it's the same shit. So he's still that good. But man, he was bumping Old school Ziggler bumps. Man, he sold Solo shit so good. And it makes you wonder. Of course, you know, he's with TNA for a while right now, currently. But it makes you wonder if there's a future. Is there a future where Nick Nemeth or Dolph Ziggler comes back again for a Royal Rumble, one last run? Who knows? Now, before we talk about the last good, let's talk about the only bad. And unfortunately for me, the only bad would be John's second to last match, or like third to last match. You know, as it was happening, I was like, please don't do Dom right now. Please. I mean, it meant we were going to get something at Survivor Series that wasn't Dom, because we knew it was either going to be Dom at Survivor Series or Dom now. And it just didn't feel right. Like, it's something about like that, knowing that they're going to be Dom at Survivor Series, fine. That's okay. But when I was hearing them talk about it for Monday, I was like, I do not want this. So I'm happy that it didn't go out that way. I don't know that the way it ended up happening was the answer. You know, the 6-man tag with John, Ray, and Sheamus, which is great. I mean, those are, you know, again, John has history with both those guys, and they're going up against the Judgment Day, which is great. That's a good way to see John go up against like JD and Finn. You know, Finn's only gone up against him one time in a singles, so it's good to see that in that way. I think that was a good way to get John to just, in a general sense, wrestle for the night, and also get to wrestle with and against a number of people. So if you think about it in that way, it checks off a lot of boxes. The reality is that it's not box office Big John stuff. I thought it was still fun, though, and I think that's the key aspect everybody has to remember, as I always say on this show, is that you need to remember the fun part that we're supposed to be having. It's not always have to be some big grandiose thing. And, you know, at this point, it's hard to say, you know, you could be like, well, don't forget the big surprise of his last match. What could it be? But now we're going to start knowing what that last match is going to be, and the surprise will start to go away a little bit. So I can understand people being feel lackluster about that. And I also felt like it could have been something bigger possibly, but hey, doing what they can with what they got. And I lied. There's two goods. One, of course, the Javon Evans and Gunther match was going to be a certified banger, and they lived up to it and then some. And Gunther coming back to the new music. Here's the thing. Fucking maybe it's a what's the word I'm looking for? A rough take, or maybe it's a controversial take. But I prefer the other music for Gunther. I mean, the way he would just, I don't know. I felt it matched him more. I like this other music. You know, I hear this is the Walter music. That's great. There's something about it that like doesn't match him right now. For me, when I look at him in the ring and I see him walking around looking all serious with the music that's playing, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but for me, that's not my ring get out. He comes out to some other music. I don't know. We'll see. That'd be crazy if they just did like a one night thing and they're like, yeah, it was just for the one night. I don't think they would do that on Raw with Gunther on his comeback. So we'll see. Looks like Gunther's got new music. That's all I know. And I'm only kind of here for it. But let's talk the last good. The last good is what an end to Monday Night Raw. Brock Lesnar is the 5th member in the War Games match, which we all kind of saw coming. That makes sense. Brock Lesnar. And it's just typical, you know, Punk's getting ready to hit the GTS. He's doing the thing, and then that guitar riff hits. And there's nothing better than that guitar riff, the crowd pop, and the wrestler's face. The combination of the three is Brock. That's Brock in a nutshell. The guitar riff, the crowd pop, and the face of the wrestler that he's about to come out and suplex City like a motherfucker. And he does. He comes out, and as per normal, he's got to hit the and it's perfect every time. And he has a little spot where he's trying to think about where to put his hat down, his cowboy hat down. He eventually figures that out. But I thought that was kind of funny. And then he goes in there and starts fucking up CM Punk. No surprise. And then the OTC returns. What I find funny about the OTC return is everybody... I was looking at it and I was wondering, I wonder if everybody's going to talk about this more than the actual return. And they were. Everybody's wondering about the sleeve. What's with the sleeve? Why has he got a sleeve on? What's going on there? And I do like the simple explanations. They were like, I think he just got more tattoos, or he got touched up tattoos and he just didn't want to mess them up. It was too soon and he just put on a sleeve. I mean, it's his tattoo arm. I don't think there's anything else that he could really be hiding there. And I don't think that's like a permanent thing going forward. Some people are like, oh, it's an injury. I'm like, then he'd put the fucking tape on that they always put on. I don't necessarily see a whole fucking compression sleeve unless he's got a, Cody Rhodes situation going on underneath there and he's trying to hide that. I don't know. But to get off what everybody else is saying, go to the return. Shouts out the return of Roman. It's so great to see Roman and Brock in the ring together again. And it is good to see Roman be the equalizer because they needed that. Brock can't just be the guy who's like, this is a all-star studded team. But with a guy who's beaten him twice, Cody Rhodes, and a guy who's beaten him before as well, Roman Reigns. So they got some numbers. They got the people to help them out. The right people too. And it does, in story-wise, makes the War Games match completely equal now at this point, and very, very, very interesting. Shouts out to Monday Night Raw for such a good booked episode. Let's move on to Tuesday, where I want to talk about Tatum Paxley unfortunately losing her fucking title in the dumbest fucking way. I just don't quite understand all this shit because it doesn't even put her in a way to like start challenging for the title again now. Tatum Paxley loses her NXT Women's title due to Izzy Dame's interference and a stiff-ass fucking super kick. I'll give her that. And what's frustrating about it is the Colin gets in front of her, so both Sean Spears and the Nico Vance get in front of her, so they help distract her. I didn't like that part. And then, why is her name escaping me? Izzy Dame, she takes advantage, kicks her, and now JC Jane is two-time champion. But for why? Everybody loved Tatum. The crowd was so happy that Tatum was champion. The things that Tatum was starting to do was great. And you gave her title just essentially to take her away from a faction and lose the title. And now for what? To go against a program with Izzy Dame. So now Izzy's not even going to be going for the title, nor will Tatum Paxley. Or are you going to somehow shoehorn them into a triple threat for this? I mean, that's the only way I see it becoming like worth it, is if this somehow becomes a triple threat with Izzy and Tatum and JC Jane, because I'm imagining it's going to end up in like a number one contender match, and then some bullshit's going to go down, and thus for turning it into a triple threat. And if that's the way you want to put the title on Tatum Paxley whilst taking her out of the calling, I could see that. But it's just so crazy because the calling is so over. It's such a good faction, and you could have done so much more. And instead, before Tatum even got the fucking title, you were already throwing in like seeds of this is going wrong between her and Izzy. And it's like, how about, I have an idea. How about we run with something for once? I got an idea. How about we try to make something big? That sounds pretty cool to me. There's a lot of other bummers on the night, like Javon and Leon Slater having a job to fucking Dark State. Fucking can't stand Dark State. So dumb. It's a fucking wannabe Shield that has no idea or no purpose or anything. It's just silly. It's just Sugar driving the show while the other three are just screaming and being aggressive all day. It's just no substance there. It's just it's no good. And then unfortunately as well, we get a throw in the towel moment. Which, you know how much the fans love that shit. You know how much we love when they throw in the towel. I'm actually at a loss for words for that. When I see it, like, they booked it a few times like that, and it's just so fucking frustrating. And then the backstage segment afterwards is just no help to it either. They're kind of on. So they're breaking up. So they're gonna break up the team between Zarya and Sol Ruka. Fine. I guess just a wrestler having it all just isn't in the books for anybody. I guess only Mercedes Moné in AEW, which is annoying. So I guess it all makes sense when you think of it in that perspective. Yeah, I was pretty upset about all that. No, yeah, a lot of things on Tuesday. No, back and forth on this because I was happy to see Oba and Ricky Saints promo. I mean, both of them spit hot fire. So emotional, so meaningful, so relatable. It's incredible the match that they can have and the story that they can have with each other, even having a match already with such big circumstances. And who ruins it all is Trick fucking Williams. And I am getting really sick of it because exactly what I just said. Man, they just had such good story, such good relative emotions to other people. And then there's Trick going, it ain't over till I say it's over. You know, until I get my title back. I'm Trick Williams. And it's like, dude, nothing. You're just nothing. You're just this whole glitz and glamour in a song with a trick knee. And that's all you got. Okay? And I'm not buying it anymore. I just don't care. There's other guys who are giving me way more than that. And I just don't care about your whole gimmick. Am I going to sing Whoop That Trick when it starts? Absolutely. Am I going to be upset when you come out and interrupt? Oh, like how many times? At first it was funny, but how many times do we have to have Oba in some form of triple threat match? But shouts out Miles, who came out and let Trick know it ain't over. And between me and you, it ain't over. And yeah. Now we're going to get a program between Miles and Trick. Thank God. Because having him be shoehorned into that title picture again would have been so fucking stupid. And so just blind in a booking manner. That's all I got to say about Tuesday. I'm sure there were some other great things, but it more so than anything made me upset. So we'll move on to Friday. This past Friday episode of SmackDown, where really I just want to talk about a few things. One, starting off with the bad immediately, who's always in the bad, in my opinion. You know how it goes here. Until it's better, because you know I will. There's been so many wrestlers that there's things I don't like about them. I don't like them, and then they change my mind. Nia Jax is the biggest example. Jade Cargill, you are the fucking worst. It's you and your booking. So you want to do that? It's not me. It's my book. It is. It's your booking, and it's you. I don't buy shit. You're not vulnerable in any way, shape, or form when you were babyface, and you're definitely not vulnerable as a fucking heel. There's nothing that I can grab onto you, and then all you've done so far is do a fucking squash against BFAB. Congrats, you squashed mid-card talent. What are you going to do? Oh, you're going to bully Chelsea Green backstage, who has one more title than you and also many more titles than you in general on the entire company. That was your role on Friday. That was what you did. Horrible. Horrible. Just no one could give a fucking shit. Except for all these people who, again, like I said, all these people, they can't. I've already broken down Jade's promos and her actual like wrestling appearances and called it in a sense of where I called it 1 week before what she was going to do when she won that title. I said exactly what she was going to say. That's how easy it is to predict the shit that she's going to do. Anybody else that likes her past that is because they're like, they love muscle mommies. That's it. And they don't care about anything form of wrestling with her. They don't care about the product that she delivers or what she is. They just see her and they're like, yeah, it's cool. And I like it. And I'm like, cool, that's fine. Just know that that's all you do. That's all you like, is you just like random shit conglom together to make something that you like. Nothing that's actually built or worked at. Nothing. So lame, as always. As always, lame. But there wasn't too much else to talk about on SmackDown, in my opinion, except for the, which I thought if they were going to have Bronson Reed move forward in that tournament, I was going to be like, for fucking what? For fucking why? Not that Bronson Reed's bad or like shouldn't be pushed. Like Bronson Reed's fucking incredible. Like he's awesome. All right. We all love the Tribal Thief. But I was like, Carmelo Hayes absolutely needs to be pushed in this tournament. And thank God he did, with the help of Cody Rhodes. And you know, that comes off of the Cody being beat up on his bus by Drew earlier on in the night when the Usos confronted the Vision, thinking they were going to get a jump on him with Cody, but you know, then that happened later. What I do like is Jay having fun again from all these segments I'm talking about with the Vision and Jay and Jimmy and Cody. Jay is having fun. He's doing his strut down to the ring. He's talking out loud. He's saying random shit. And when he's helping Cody, when they're all helping Cody, he's like, hey, Cody, he ain't gonna get you again, though. He ain't gonna get you again, though, Cody. And I'm laughing. I'm like, Jay, stop. Yeah, not. And then when Drew drives by to say, see you at War Games, and then fucking Jay, yeah, I'll see your ass at War Games, Drew. I'll see your ass. I'm like, yo, somebody calm down, Jay. But I love that. I love that. And then, of course, the whole women's build for War Games. The build to the segment between Rhea and Charlotte, to not make that the only thing, to have it go on to the end of the night where they all come out and then we announced that AJ Lee will be the 5th member of the female War Games match, which, how incredible, right? Not only does AJ Lee come back, she comes back for a run, and in that run, she does War Games. Wild. Becky Lynch, in that same breath, announced for the other side of female War Games, because she comes out and beats the fuck out of AJ Lee as the villains of the female War Games side whip that ass as they go off air. And out of all those, I want to just give a credit to Lash Legend, because I've seen the videos, and they write whatever her fucking straight right hand is move, that whoever taught her that, how to throw that, demon. That shit's nice. She hits that real clean, and people sell for it real good. Good for her. And sometimes she even sells it like she really hurt herself too, which I like. That's good. And the other thing I want to point out from that whole War Games, female War Games interactions, was how nobody can stay angry around Io. Charlotte's coming out, and I think that her character is supposed to be looking indifferent. Like, I'm happy to be here with Lexi. I'm happy to be here. I'm not necessarily happy in the way that what I had to do to get here, but it's okay. And Io is like reaching out for a group hug, and Charlotte like doesn't necessarily pick it up right away, and it's because she's too busy trying to portray that. And she notices last minute that Io's doing that, and then Charlotte reaches back out. She's like, no, because nobody wants to offend Io. Not only is she a badass, but she's a sweetheart, and we will not offend her. And Charlotte was like, oh no, yeah, we'll hug. Come on, group hug. And I thought that was great, because I feel like that was a real moment from Charlotte to be like, oh no, I don't want to offend. It was awesome. And of course, there's other great things happen tonight. Ilya, of course, has banger after banger after banger, stealing this from Sheamus being the banger after banger guy. His whole thing with Tommaso Ciampa. Is Tommaso Ciampa going to be U.S. champion after a while? I mean, they're really teasing this shit. It seems like it's so much teasing that eventually Tommaso's going to get a chance and he's going to fucking win that U.S. title. I don't know how that'll go well in a booking decision, but it just seems like that's the way it's going to go, and I'm nervous. You let me know what you think down below. The MFT promo was good. I loved Solo's promo. Yeah, shouts out Penta. Shouts out Penta for a SmackDown match, and how well it went for him there. And that's all I got for you guys this week. It's a small one. It's a quick wrap-up show. I just wanted to get this done so that way I can get something out for you guys. I really appreciate it. I'm working on time crunching. Like I said, I think we're going to go ahead and do a after the show. So Tuesdays I'll do Monday, and Wednesdays I'll do Tuesday, and then you'll probably get Friday on the Sunday or Monday or something along those lines. So I think that'll be better. But, we'll be gauging it. I just appreciate anybody sharing this out and hanging out. I love talking wrestling. I'll watch tons and tons of wrestling podcasts just to hear other people's opinions, because I think that's the greatest part about wrestling is all the different types of, shouts out to my podcast Tribal Chief Sam Roberts, all the wild speculation and breakdowns that people can have, and it's very fun. So I hope you stick around this channel and do that with me, and we'll see you guys next time with some more Wrestle Talk. Bye.